Hey guys, Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need them out there today. No script in today's video, so forgive the wandering thoughts, the constant meandering as you guys have become accustomed to here on the channel throughout the last 5-6 years now, covering Raid Shadow Legends. Actually, I saw a comment a few days ago here. I forgot what video it was on, or I would have given a shout out to the commenter, but I saw a comment saying, Ash, I remember watching you cover Raid as a sponsorship. I did like a 5-video sponsored series on Raid Shadow Legends on my, what used to be my main channel, right? About, gosh, 6 or 7 years ago, right? This is back in 2019, early 2019. So I did this big series, 5 dedicated, sponsored, full videos on my Supercell channel covering Clash of Clans and Clash Royale at the time, right? And I was kind of, I was very, very uncertain over whether or not I should even take the sponsorship, right? Because truthfully, you Google Raid Shadow Legends, especially at the time, or YouTube Raid Shadow Legends, this is what you saw. You saw the Raid Shadow Legends is a terrible game with 2.9 million views. The sinister truth about Raid Shadow Legends, 23K views. Raid Garbage Legends, 2.3 million views. Raid Shadow Legends is bad. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on. Right? This is what I saw, and I thought, hey, it's gonna ruin my reputation if I take on this sponsorship, A. And B, this game obviously is gonna be the biggest trash game in the history of games, right? And I ended up taking the sponsorship. But real quick, a note on all of these videos. I don't mean these videos. I just mean that, like, these particular ones, I just mean that, like, I've seen a million of these throughout the years, obviously. Some of them are, you know, valid. Obviously, everybody has an opinion, and there's plenty of reasons to dog on Raid. I'm not that aloof, obviously, right? But I will say that a lot of them are like, I said no to a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship. Here's the truth, right? And I find that a lot of them are just not coming at this or not coming at these videos from a place of like actually even playing 1 second of the game. It's rather, it became, especially years ago, videos like this became in vogue and easy to make for anybody to rack up millions in some case of views, right? Or hundreds of thousands of views in other cases, right? So I actually feel like a lot of these, not that they're unfair, well, I guess they are unfair. Not that they're necessarily wrong. Like, again, like I said, it's an easy target, but a lot of people actually farmed massive views over making, I'm not going to take a Raid sponsorship video without ever playing the game at all, right? And now I realize that. Anyway, your boy sold out, and I did take the sponsorship. Honestly, it's half true, half not true, right? I said, listen, I'm not familiar with the game, and it has a nasty reputation, at least in my circles. So hook me up with another creator to talk about the game who actually covers the game, right? So this is me back in 2019 covering Raid Shadow Legends on my very first sponsorship. This is the same account that I have right now, by the way. It's funny. You ever go back and look at like old Raid content, guys? Like about what things used to look like in the game? It really does show you how far we've come here, you know, in terms of just looking at like little tiny things, the way that the stats looked and stuff like that, the way that the skills were written, the way the champions looked on the champion index as well. But I remember in this video, I'll let you relive the magic with me here. My very first legendary on this account. You never forget your first. Let's watch it together. My very first legendary pull here.
Kind of like a damage dealer, but not super good. Okay.
That's chosen, Brad.
Hey, there you go.
Oh
my God.
Is he good? Is he
that's
bad?
that's one of the best things you could pull. There you go.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, big on. Big.
Yep, big. And so if you go through his abilities, go to his A1.
Big Un. I got Big Un, ladies and gentlemen. So I actually pulled my very first legendary, who obviously I still have and I still use in Faction Wars hard mode to this day, right? He's my main kind of control nuker. Anyway, I say all that. I promise there is some sort of a point to this video. I watched that content, you know, and I thought about my own kind of, I say this like in quotations, but my own career here, what really feels still surreal to me, right? I started covering Clash of Clans over 11 years ago on what used to be, again, my main channel on Clash with Ash. I'm still kind of semi-active there. I try to like upload 1 video a month just because, you know, I can never really give up anything in life, right? That's why I'm never going to quit Raid, because I can't quit things. Like, I stick with things to a fault in life, right? But I look back at kind of my journey here, honestly, and yes, I've been critical of the game quite a bit throughout the years. Obviously, I was also of my previous games because I'm the type of individual that where when I'm passionate about something. And I think we're all like this to a certain extent, right? But when I'm passionate about something, I tend to, also want the very best, or at least what my version is of the very best, recognizing that's not going to be everybody's version of the very best. And I tend to, whether it's solicited or not, I tend to share feedback on the way that I would love to see the game head and whatnot. And I've been in the industry for a long time, so I have a lot of context, a lot of experience, I feel like I should play something in the background here. Golly. Ogre and Tribe. Speak of the devil, Biggin. It's your time to shine, baby. Actually, I absolutely know I'm probably going to crash and burn because this is one of those Faction Wars hard modes areas where I can't clear it on auto, honestly. But we'll give it a shot here. We'll give it a shot. I got to thinking how lucky I am, guys, honestly. I mean, these videos don't do well on YouTube. I'm so fortunate. Thank you so much. I love you all. I love this game. But I felt like I should release it to counterbalance things a little bit because honestly, when I started covering Raid, right, I had just had the previous year. I just went through the loss, and I mentioned it before. I'm not going to take a deep dive in my personal life. Don't worry, you don't have to get out your tissues or whatever. But like, I just lost my brother, and he was only 29 years old. It was incredibly sudden. I mentioned it before, but he had a grand mal seizure, and he just died. And it was just like never saw anything coming. It was just insane. And I really, really, really struggled. Anybody who's lost anyone out there, you just know, and I mentioned this before too, but that like there's this line of demarcation in your life that things will just never be the same when you lose somebody close to you, And I'm a sensitive guy anyway, so that didn't help, right? I mean, anybody loses a sibling, of course you're gonna feel it. But man, I really felt it, honestly, to the point where I was at my very lowest of lows in life, right? And this is where Raid Shadow Legends found me, honestly, and I crashed and burned just like I said I would. Apparently nobody has any gear on the background. Way to go, Ash. You're really killing it here. Can I no, not enough keys. What can I show you guys in the background that I don't have to think about? You know what you're going to get, damn it? You're going to get some Phantom Shogun. You're going to get some Sand Devil. Here we go. No background, foreground. All right. This will be exciting for you guys. So I was going through a really tough time. If I'm not going to get into the, I'm sure you guys can imagine. But there were some very, very dark days, some very, very dark nights, and I really self-isolated myself. And honestly, I'm still dealing with the repercussions of how I handled those losses, or at least how I experienced them at that time of my life, still to this day, right? I'm a hardworking guy. I kind of, I love being a dad, but beyond work and dad, I mean, my life is mobile gaming and gaming, and honestly I really like it. I really love it, or I wouldn't do it every day, all day, weekends, you name it. I have a unique situation where I have 50-50 custody of my kiddo, who's also like my best friend in the world. And it actually, I hated this lifestyle. I hated not being with my son half the time for a long time. And then I decided that, like, you know what, focus on the positive a little bit more there, Ash. Telling myself. And the cool thing is I get to allocate the time that I do have with him fully on him. I'm sure it's a luxury that a lot of parents wish they would have, right? They could have, right? Because I'm able to just grind my ass off 24/7 the time that I'm not with him, And, I'm rambling a little bit here, but suffice it to say, this was right after my son was born. When I started covering Raid, and after the loss of my brother, and that came after the loss of my mother, and she died within a few months of being diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and it just came again like an absolute just insanely heavy blow that I hope nobody has to go through, but ultimately we all have to go through some sort of loss in life. So in some ways, I've been very unfortunate, unlucky. I also dealt with my own health issues as it pertains to mutations that kind of that led my mom to where she was, So I've been through it. I've been through some really tough times, really dark days, and I didn't feel like going on, frankly, And then I found the best thing in my world, and which is my son, and that's why I always say at the beginning of all my videos is sending some love, some positive vibes. You're going through something, just know that it can and it will get better. And I don't say that just to say it, to be a nice guy, I say it because That's what I wanted to tell myself when I had my darkest moments, you know? That's what I wanted somebody to tell me, is that, like, no matter how dark it is right now, everybody has the ability in them to transform their lives, even though it doesn't feel like you do when you're going through it, you know? And I feel like I'm living testament to that. And there's a lot of things that, you know, really worked out in my life, you know? And one of them is freaking mobile games. I was just a normal dude, still am, but just playing mobile games. I was playing Clash of Clans all the time at work, you know? And I thought maybe, this is back in 2014, I thought that maybe I could just upload it on YouTube, you know? Like, YouTube was still kind of new-ish, at least to me at the time. It certainly wasn't like it is now. And I just figured I'd just learn how to do it. And I think I'm not the most entertaining guy in the world, and I'm not the wonk knowing everything there is to know about a game like Clash of Clans, for example. But, you know, I figured if they can do it, I can do it. Why not, right? And I'll just see what I can do. And I think I got first mover advantage to it. You know, I think that's what I attribute a lot of my success to in the early days, is I was just doing it before a lot of people were doing it. My channel covering Clash Royale at the time, something interesting happened where I kind of, what I did was I realized I wasn't really good at the game, Clash Royale, and Clash of Clans, frankly, and at least not elite enough to be like having a massive strategic video every single day, really offering something substantial in terms of value to my audience, right? But what I could do is I could bring on the best players in the world to my channel every day. And that's what I did. And I did that for years and years and years and years. Every single day, I interviewed another pro player. And that's what really blew me up on my main channel back in the day. That's what really took me off. I traveled the world. I ended up going to, you know, almost 20 different countries, hosting live events, casting live events, esport events, the whole nine. It was crazy. Stadiums, like sold out stadiums, literally. I was a part of, and it changed my life in Tokyo and in London. It's all, you name it, all over the world. Traveled to just everywhere, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But something interesting happened is Supercell, that is, in Clash Royale, the game I was covering, they really stopped prioritizing, but they really tampered down, it felt like, their esports, you know, the competitive landscape, their live events and stuff like that, especially coinciding with COVID, obviously. I found myself not really knowing exactly what was next for me, and I was already super depressed and kind of going through it, obviously, for the reasons I already mentioned. And then something interesting happened. Despite all the Raid Shadow Legends' garbage videos, this little game came around, and I did 5 dedicated sponsored videos on my main channel with Chosen Brad, and I discovered something really, really, really freaking cool. And that was, this is no offense to my old audience at all, right? I love a lot of those people grew up with me. Like, a lot of the pros that I had on when they were 14, 15 are now 24, 25 years old, and it's so cool, right? A lot of them are actually content creators or even involved in the industry. It's just awesome to see, right? But my demos were very young on that channel. Nothing against young people at all. I'm just saying, right? And it was just like, I was talking to a lot of like 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And again, some of them were awesome. Some of the best friends I had made, especially like later on as they grew up. But I didn't feel like I was really talking to my peers that often, you know? In this community, man, this game, first, let me just start with the game. Like, I almost feel like it's taboo to say nice things about Raid, but I really want to, because for all the grief that I sometimes give this game, it's an awesome game, man. Like, I expected, it's also a battle of expectations, right? Your friend says this movie's gonna suck. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. And then you go watch it and it's not that bad. And you're like, wow, that was a really good movie, you know, because your expectations were set so low. So I think that was a little bit of it in the early days. I was like, oh, this game, you can actually play it. That was one of those games that, you know, those mobile games, like, what is it? Like God of War or whatever, the ones like back in the day, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger too. I forgot the name of Mobile Strike, maybe?
Mobile Strike. Download and play now.
Where you just like watch dots and like that's the whole battle, and then they're like, okay, deposit more money, you know? I thought it was one of those type games, but honestly, yeah, Raid is pretty pay to win, but there was also no winning, right? So it's kind of a fallacy anyway in Raid. No one wins. So if you can play it at your own pace with your own budget, that could be nothing if you want to, right? I actually discovered that this is the best game in the genre, you know, at the time. You could argue maybe some competitors are emerging nowadays, but I think for years and years and years, Plarium created just an insanely good game. You know, I feel like a lot of the negativity at times throughout the last, few years, for me at least, comes from, yeah, but it could be even better and more accessible to more players, if they just made some certain decisions. But regardless, I still think this game, the balance, the fact that they have thousands of 1,000 champions or whatever, right? So many different things to do in the game. You really never get bored. If the number one complaint of a game is I don't have time to enjoy everything in it because there's so much there that feasibly you could enjoy, it's a backhanded insult, I guess, right? Because it's like there's so much to do that I want more time to do it all, And I know there's different layers to that conversation, obviously. I don't mean to like cherry pick and to kind of straw man my own argument here, but I just wanted to say that like the game really surprised me, and I really do enjoy the game. I've used a driver, someone to kind of help me manage my account in Watcher of Realms, and I think it was a big mistake because it made me like disassociate from the game. But in Raid, I've never done that. I've never had anybody log on to my account other than myself. And it's not because I feel like it's a chore because I have to make a video every single day. It's because I really love this game. But even more than the game, I really feel, it's kind of bizarre because I watch content creators and a lot of them I watch casually. And when they start talking like this, I'm like, yo, bro, I'm just here for the video, for the strategy guide, man. But that being said, at the risk of making that same mistake, I feel like I really love this community, man. I love my viewers. I love my peers, it's weird. Things change, right, over years, right? In the early days, I do feel like there was more of a rah-rah camaraderie, rather, between all of the, frankly, the developer, the community, and all the players, the creators, right? I felt like spirits were very high and everyone was kind of on the rise together, and it was different times, and things change in life, right? I'm kind of an old dog here, about to turn 43, and I think that you just recognize that there are seasons to everything in life, right? And that even applies to video games. And when I say video games, I don't just mean the video game itself. I just mean that the feel of the community, right? And everything always feels a bit better in the early days, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, right? I think it's human nature a little bit. So I think that we have a propensity to always think that things are on the decline, right? Comparing it to the good old days. But I actually I think that Raid's going to be healthy for quite a long time, I don't think that it's going to always be top dog, but I don't see it really going anywhere, and I certainly have no plans of changing games, mainly because of you guys, And hey, I know not everybody who watches this channel is going to stick around and cover Raid or watch Raid or play Raid for years and years and years, but every day I do see comments that, the only reason I play now is because of you and your videos, or other creators in the creator community, and you guys too. Like, I don't want to make it all about creators here. It's like you guys, your clans, your Discords, your Reddit community. There's so much more to Raid than content creators, obviously. And I think that everybody can kind of get inside their own niche. But, there's people out there. I think that one of the things that I just want to also give some gratitude towards is there are hundreds, thousands of people out there who are managing clans, and managing a clan, because I did it back in the day of Clash of Clans, right? Managing a clan, let alone a clan family, is absolutely a full-time job. You are there, everything from managing personalities and managing, friction and whatnot, to coming up with processes and coordination and communication and everything that entails. I feel like sometimes we don't get enough credit to our clan leaders out there and the individuals who put in a lot of effort into just helping other players, right? That was another thing that really caught me about Raid, is that, man, people out here are generally just trying to help other people get better at this game, I didn't see that much in, the Supercell space. And again, maybe it's just my age showing a little bit here, or at least the aggregated age of the entire audience. But I just feel like there's just a lot of genuine like kind of passion out here. And TLDR, the community and the game took me from a spot where I wasn't happy with my life, and other factors, my kiddo and whatnot. Despite that, I still struggle. I think we all do, right? It's easy to say, look, I've changed and have a nice ending to this little story that I'm winding my way through in this video, right? But the truth is, I still struggle quite a bit mentally. I have my ups and my downs. Some weeks I'm good, other weeks I'm not. But I always take some respite, and it is quite a cathartic experience to sit here every day, to put the mic on, and to say, hey guys, Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Send us some positive vibes, some love your way if you need it. Like that, for me, is almost a verbal cue to get in a better mindset personally when I'm going through it, you know? I wanted to end with where I kind of began, and that is thanking you guys for being a big part of my life. I may not be a part of yours. I may just be a video that you just randomly clicked on. What is this guy talking about? Raid Shadow Legends changed his life. But at the same time, I do owe you guys some gratitude, whether you're a first-time viewer or a long-time viewer, or whether you're one of those people I mentioned, someone out there just trying to make a positive impact, even if it's just some advice in Raid Shadow Legends. We need more of that in this world today. In a world where everybody's screaming at each other 24/7, my opinion's right, your opinion's wrong, you're stupid, you're smart, whatever. We need to just like recognize the humanity and just have and engage in shared passions and leave all the bullshit aside a little bit, you know? And that was always my intention here on the channel. So thank you guys for being a part of my journey, and hopefully I'm a little tiny bit a part of yours too. Send us some love and some positive vibes your way. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.